today we are doing Unit 4B, Mission 1B. I can solve and apply percent equations. This is percent problems number 2. It says the population of Brooklyn Park in 2000 was 67,281. The population grew 7.2% by the year 2010. What is the population in 2010? So we have the population total before, and then it grew 7.2%. So we're going to use our percent formula or proportion here to set up our problem. So we know the total population was 67,281 at the time. We also know that it grew 7.2% out of a total of 100%. We need to figure out what percent did this, or what was the number that represents a 7.2%, so we can figure out what can we add on to this to get to our total. So we're going to cross multiply to begin with. 100 times x is 100x. 67,281 times 7.2 in my calculator gives me 484,423.2, so that's 484,480 or 423.2. But we need to divide by 100. So I'm going to divide by 100, and I get 4,844.2 if I just use one decimal. So this was the number of people. So we wanted to figure out by what percent, or it grew by 7.2%, how many people was that? Well, it was about 4,844 people that the population grew by. And we can't have 0.2 of a person, so I would just say 4,844. However, that's not the new population. They want to know what is the population in 2010. So we know the population was 67,281, and it's growing or adding 4,844 people. So we really need to add this together to get to our total. So our answer is not A. That's how much our population grew by. Well, we know it can't go down. It didn't go down to 62,000. So just by looking at our information by process of elimination, we know that our answer would have to be C. If we add these up, 1 plus 4 is 5, 2, 1, 12. So yes, 72,125 people. Let's take a look at a couple other examples. We are using our same percent proportion, looking at our part out of the total. That will give us our percent out of the total 100%. That's the equation or proportion that we're setting up. So it says a school had an enrollment of 870 students last year. This year, 825 students enrolled. What is the percent of change in the enrollment? So we know that there was a total of 870 students. We have 825 students this year. So out of 100%, well, first we can figure out what percent is the 825%. So we can cross multiply. The reason I put this on the bottom because that was the total. They want to know what is the percent change. So it changed to this number. That's why I put that number on the top. So 870 times x is 870x. 825 times 100, you're really just putting your 2 zeros on the end, moving the decimal 2 spots to the right. And then divide by 870. 870 goes into 871 times, so we have 1x or just x. So 82,500 divided by 870 gives me 94.8 If I do 1 decimal, if you want to round it up to 95%, that's fine. But that's the percent that stayed the same. There were about 800 and some students that were there the same. So they want to know what percent did it change. So out of our 100% total, we can subtract our 94.8% to tell us what was the percent that the population changed. So 100 minus 94.8 gives me 5.2%. That is our percent change. If you wanted to instead, we could have solved the problem another way by figuring out what's the difference between these two numbers. We could have taken 870 minus 825 and tell us that's a difference of 45 students. So we could have put that 45 right here to give us this answer right away. Either way, it will give you the same answer of 5.2%. So next it says from October to November, 1 year, attendance at Everglades National Park increased by about 27.4%. There were 59,084 visitors in October. How many people visited in November? So we know it went up 27.4%. So we know that's our percentage, the part that it went up, out of 100% total always. And we know the total at the time was 59,084. We want to know what percent is, or what number represents 27%. How many people is that? So we're going to cross multiply. So 100 times x is 100x. 59,084 times 27.4. It's a big number. 1,618,901.6. But we need to divide by 100. Divided by 100. Just moves the decimal 2 spots. 16189.01. Since we're talking about people, I'm going to leave it as this whole number here because we can't have a part of a person. So we know that the population of this national park increased by this many people. So if it went up by that many people, we need to add that to our starting point. We had 59,084 plus now 16,189 more people will give us our total number of people that are now visiting the park. So 59,084 plus 16,189 gives us a total of 75,273 people. It told us that it was increased by this percent, so we needed to add that to our original number. All right, next couple questions are about pretzel twists. It says use a proportion to find the recommended daily value of carbohydrates a person should have each day. So carbohydrates, it says total carbohydrates right here, so that's the row that we are going to look at. We want to know how many grams of carbohydrates should we have each day. So we know that the pretzel twists are giving us 8% of what we need out of 100% total. And that 8% is really 23 grams. So we want to figure out, that's the part that we get from the pretzels. We want to know what's the total amount of grams that we should be eating of carbohydrates to meet our daily goal, daily value. So just cross multiply. 8 times x is 8x. 23 times 100 is 2,300. We just added our 0 on there. The opposite of multiplying is divide. So we're dividing by 8 to get x all by itself. So I'm just plugging this into my calculator, 2,300 divided by 8. and I get 287.5. They were talking about grams of carbohydrates, so that is our answer. All right, next question. It says the daily recommended intake of iron is 12 milligrams. How many milligrams of iron are in one serving of pretzels? So let's look at iron, way down here at the bottom. So we're setting up our proportion. We know the iron is giving us 8% of our total 100% that we need in a day. And it tells us the daily recommended intake. So in one day, you should get 12 milligrams of iron. So that's the total. We want to know what part are we getting from the pretzels? What is that 8%? How many milligrams is that? So we're going to cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 12 times 8 give us 96. And last, divide by 100. And we get 96 divided by 100 should give you 0.96. You're just moving the decimal 2 spots to the left. So it's giving us 0.96 milligrams, not even 1 whole milligram. So these pretzels here are not a very good source of iron. Better than the other vitamins that are there, but not very much. All right, we have one question left. It says the recommended daily value of fiber is 25 grams. So let's find fiber on here. Dietary fiber is 4% of what we need in a day. How many grams are in the serving of pretzels? So let's set up our proportion. Part out of total. We're getting 4% of what we need. And in one day, they're telling us that we should be getting 25 grams. So total in one day is 25. We want to know, well, how many are we getting from the pretzel twists? So our cross multiplying, 100 times x is 100x. 25 times 4, you should know this one, is also 100. So if we divide by 100 to solve this, 100 goes into 100 one time. So what were we talking about? X right here was in terms of grams. So in these pretzels, if we had one serving of pretzels, we would get 1 gram of fiber. All right, the rest is your homework. Go ahead and make sure you read the directions. There are some on the back that are using